Jim. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning?
Amazing.
Good, good. I feel amazing too. You know, to fly all the way from New York to be here and to speak in front of you is truly an honor. And I thank Jim for the opportunity. I have a question to ask you before I get started. So by a show of hands, how many people here have gone through something? Wow. Okay. So I came to the right place. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can overcome things, whether it's trauma. So my name is Angeline. So I am the founder and CEO of Let's Break the Silence. And today I'm going to be talking about tools and techniques to heal. So, you know, my specialties is empowering women and men with tools to heal and to live the life they truly deserve to live. Because we do deserve to live a life filled with abundance and wealth. And I discovered that. I was on a path of rediscovery. So let me go to the next slide. Okay. And I have notes, so don't. Okay. Oops. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so this is just a brief introduction of myself. So, as you know, Jim, spoke about my journey and everything. So, I experienced similar struggles. So I know what it's like, and I'm determined to provide guidance and community so women and men can thrive and be victorious in their lives. So, what type of things have you gone through? By a show of hands, anyone want to volunteer? Dawn?
Domestic violence, drug addiction, and homelessness.
Wow. You're a hero. I had the pleasure of meeting Dawn 2 months ago at a women's Christian conference here in San Diego. So Dawn is my VIP guest, and I'm very, very proud of her journey to overcome all of that. How about anyone else? Anyone? Oh.
Yeah, I moved to this country 10 years ago without knowing anybody, no English,
Okay.
no parents, relatives from Ukraine, by myself, and just started my journey.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you. Anyone else? Oh, there she is.
Overcoming extreme fatigue.
Okay.
Gallstones, 2 heart surgeries, hip replacement, going from very insecure to unconditional confidence, building a practice in the field that nobody does and nobody says you can't.
Wow. That's a lot that you went through. It's a lot that you've gone through. So anyone, you're a strong woman. So you are a very strong woman. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. Hold on. This thing is not, okay. So I myself overcame domestic violence and trauma. So, in case of Dawn, so domestic violence is a willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and or other abusive behavior. So this subject, I feel, I'm very passionate about empowering women and men because men do also go through some sort of trauma. And this is a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about it because they feel, I don't know why, but they just don't, they feel ashamed and, to talk about this. But I was doing some research, and in the US alone, more than 10 million adults experience domestic violence annually. So if each of these adults experienced only one incidence of violence, an adult in the US would experience violence every 3 seconds. However, because domestic violence is a pattern, many experience repeated acts of abuse annually. So an incident of abuse happens far more frequently than every 3 seconds. So 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men experience sexual violence, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner. And these statistics are really alarming, and it does have a physical and mental impact. However, there's hope. However, there is hope. And through my journey, 14 and a half years ago, I I found myself in a very bad place. I was living in New York City, and I was basically homeless, and I lived like a gypsy for 1 year. But what I did was I surrendered my pride and ego. I stepped into my own power, and I started to invest in myself in personal development. So I went on a journey of self-discovery because I just had enough. I was subjected to financial abuse. I was $50,000 in debt, and I had no idea where I was going. But I knew that I had a vision. I had a vision and I had a dream of where I wanted to go. So, so what I want to say is this: there is hope. There is hope out there. There's light. There's a silver lining. So I'm here because I want to empower all of you. If you're going through something, don't be afraid to speak up. Use your voice. There is power in your voice. And I chose not to be silent anymore. And I chose to step into victory. Because I know I deserved a better life. Right, that's right, right? That's right. Thank you. Okay. So a lot of survivors are afraid to break the silence. So what happens in this case? So they're afraid to break their silence based on shame and being feared of being judged. And in my experience, when male and female survivors come forward with their stories, they experience freedom and at the same time vulnerability. So there is vulnerability in sharing your story. And this is one of the reasons why I started my podcast, Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, because I had a vision. And I started this 2 months before COVID hit because I wanted to help women and men overcome their obstacles. So whatever, like I said, you're going through, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that it took me a long time to share my story. So it probably took me about 6 years before I finally opened up and shared my story to the world. I took my camera, I went Facebook Live in my living room, camera was shaking. I opened up my whole soul to the world, and 7 million views later, the next day. Because I'll tell you why, because people on social media are they're looking for hope. And at that time, it was just Facebook, Facebook only. There was no TikTok, none of this, it was just Facebook. So I hired a mentor 4 years ago, and he said, you know what, Angeline, it's time that you share your story with the world. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can open up. But there are many women and men who are afraid to do that. But, so I was afraid for a long time. And like I said, it took me about 8 years to open up to the whole world. So imagine yourself in your living room going live on Facebook, camera shaking. I'm not smiling, I'm shaking, all this, but I was live for 15 minutes and then that's it. It exploded. It went viral. So it's something to be very proud of. It's something to be very proud of. So, but there is vulnerability in sharing your story. So I shared a brief overview of my experience with domestic violence, and I made a decision to surrender and stop playing the victim. You can only be in survival mode for so long. And I chose to surrender. I just surrendered my pride and ego. I pushed the fear away, and I took ownership and went on a path of self-discovery. So now I'm going to be talking about healing techniques, and I'm going to break down 3 healing techniques that I used in my journey, in my self-discovery. So I was in therapy for 1 year, and I started self-care practices such as going out by myself, practice self-love, because when you love yourself, you can love on others. And that was huge for me. That was huge for me. And I practiced self-love techniques. I did meditation. To this day, I do my gratitude meditation in the morning. So when I first wake up in the morning, I do not look at the phone. I do not look at the phone. I just, like, I sit there in bed and I'm, you know, clasping my blanket and I'm just focused on gratitude. Focus on gratitude. So I do gratitude meditations, I journal. I joined support groups at that time that really helped me, and I got myself involved in the online space. And I began my journey of personal and self-development, which 1 year later I claimed victory from domestic violence. So I invested in myself, and I invested now today, I invested myself to be here. In myself to be here, and I'm so glad to be here with all of you.
Thank you.
You're all kind. Thank you. And I love San Diego. Yeah, San Diego. I love San Diego. And also, what I had to do is I had to let go of self-limiting beliefs that were holding me back because I was conditioned to believe that I was not worthy living a life of abundance. So I talk about this a lot because I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs that were holding me back. It's because that's because I was conditioned to believe that I was not worthy anymore. I mean, I was told at times that I wasn't going to make it. And I did make it. I had to prove people wrong, but I did a lot of mindset work, heavy mindset work, a lot of mirror work, so I could overcome those self-limiting beliefs. So once I did that, the world of abundance opened up. And I'm here today, so I'm just very grateful to be here. And so I want to talk about this gender inclusive support. So I talk about community a lot because I've been successful at building a community of sisterhood and brotherhood in my community. So acknowledge the fact that both men and women can be survivors. Men and women can be empowered to be survivors and share their real life stories of claiming victory from abuse. And you know, what I always suggest is partner with someone. It's so important. Initiating ongoing connections is a concrete step toward fostering a supportive community that can be significantly aid the healing and recovery process after domestic violence. So I encourage you, for those of you who are going through something, I encourage you to find an accountability partner and go out for coffee. If you live in San Diego, you live or wherever you, because I know people from all over came here, find someone, go out on a coffee date. You know, go out on a coffee date, have a virtual coffee chat. And I love doing that. I love going to coffee shops. And I can tell you San Diego has amazing coffee shops. You have the best here. So I encourage you to get together and stay connected. And that's something that I've been able to do in my community is, you know, fostering those relationships, building up that community of sisterhood and brotherhood. That is so important today to, you know, to encourage and support each other. So how many of you agree with me on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. I do too. So, okay, so there's also community resources, because I know a lot of people ask me for resources. So if you are in, like Dawn was in a domestic violence situation, there's a hotline that you can call, and there's a national coalition against domestic violence website at ncadv.org, and they have valuable resources. I mean, I've helped women find a place to live, because a lot of times, you know what it is, they call, they're in a panic, they don't know what to do. They're like, where do I go? And I said, you go to this website. And I'm not doing the work for them, they're doing the work. So I empowered, I would say 3 or 4 women who called me. They found a place the next day. Nice. Yeah, they were able to get shelter. Because a lot of a lot of women are single moms now. So they're looking for shelter for their children. So so that's really, really important. And like I said, building a supportive community. We cannot do life alone. There's no way we can do life alone. And isolation is a common experience among survivors of domestic violence. So the goal is to build genuine connections and build a community of sisterhood and brotherhood to share their experiences, offer support, and exchange resources. So I talked about scheduling a coffee date and all that, so this is good. So overcoming stigma. So there is a stigma associated with domestic violence and trauma because there's a lot of shame and victim blaming that goes along with that. And it's because, like myself, I was afraid to be judged by my own family and some friends of mine. But like I said, I decided to step out of that and step into my own power and true calling, and to amplify my voice and help others break their silence, because there is power in your voice. So you could go from feeling lost, overwhelmed, and anxious to empowerment and to living the life that you truly deserve to live. Okay. So moving forward, just what I had to do was get out of victim mode by shifting and letting go of your self-limiting beliefs through everyday tasks. So I was able to craft new routines, have a new morning routine, and start to, step into my best self, because that's what I really wanted to do. And this is my passion today, is to help women and men overcome things in their life, whatever it's trauma, domestic violence, or whatever, anything, that's what I'm here. And actually, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you've gone through these things. So why? Because you've been told you are not worthy or beautiful. Survivors are not defined by the beliefs they were forced upon them. So with proper support and empowerment, they can challenge these beliefs, reclaim their sense of self. And the blame lies solely with the abusers who perpetuate the cycle of abuse and manipulate the survivor's perception of themselves. So as we work towards providing support and understanding, so let's remember that every survivor has the strength to break free from these beliefs and rebuild their lives with courage and resilience. So how many of you agree with that? Yes. And how many of you have overcome? Dawn! And who else? I think someone else raised their hand. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. Yeah, it just all comes down to you and investing in yourself. So I'm very proud of myself to be here and to speak in front of all of you. And if you would like, I would love for you to enclose, there's hope out there, and if you would like to get in contact with me, you can email me at Angeline@letsbreakthesilence.com, and I would love to schedule a virtual coffee with you and get to know each and every one of you. Okay, and that's it. That's it. The end. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.